Hey, we know it can be frustrating to find accurate wiring and compatibility information online. You've tried Google and you get conflicting information, or worse, you order the recommended parts and they don't fit. You've searched the forums and can't find information specific to your model or year. AutoHarnessHouse.com has solved this problem. Check out our vehicle wiring and compatibility database for professionally verified wiring information, including connector pinouts, pictures, steering wheel control wiring information, dash kit compatibility, and links to all the parts you'll need to install your head unit successfully the first time. Visit AutoHarnessHouse.com/mycar to download vehicle-specific information for your car. This tool will give you the information you need for your specific version of your specific model. So today we have a 2018 Subaru Outback, and we're going to be showing you how to remove the OEM head unit. The same process applies if you're installing an aftermarket head unit, or in this case we are removing the Subaru telematics module to eliminate some of the Subaru Big Brother tracking type functions that you get from the GPS and cell antennas that are built in to that setup. And so we're just going to remove the module and install a Starlink Bypass plug. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is remove this little bezel panel that sits underneath the head unit. And to do that, we'll just start along one side with the pry tool and just kind of very carefully wedge it off.
The one in the back recording? I started it.
And you'll see it pop off.
There's the two clips right there.
So next we'll remove the two screws that are securing the HVAC controls that sit underneath the head unit screen. That will allow us to pop those out and give us access to the bolts that are behind the head unit. Just lightly pop it out. I'll use the pry tool here. You can also use your fingers for that part if you'd like. The pry tool gives you a little bit more control. And I'll link in the description to the pry tool that I'm using here. Okay, there it is. And we don't have to disconnect this. We can just kind of leave it sitting. In this case, we're just leaving it sitting down on the towel that I've got there. And now we've got the air vents that sit above the head unit that we'll have to remove because there's two screws along the top of the head unit that we need to access so we can remove it. And so it's sort of the same process here. Just very carefully start from one side and pop loose those clips, and then work your way over to the other side. Then there's a plug that sits on the back for the four-way flashers. So go ahead and disconnect that so that we can pull this panel off and kind of get it out of the way. You can see here there are 4 clips along the top of the head unit and then 3 along the top of the bezel. So then we'll just remove these 2 Phillips screws that are sitting along the top of the head unit and set them aside. Obviously try not to drop them into the cavity where the the radio settings. That's just removing the 2 screws that are along the bottom. Then hold along the top and the bottom of the head unit and pull it out straight towards you. And then the whole thing should slide out far enough that you can get in there and disconnect all the plugs from the back.
These are always tricky. These are the two connectors for this. This is the telematics module right here on the bottom, and these 2 connectors for the telematics module are always really tight. You have to like use a pry tool usually and pop them out like that. There it is. Now, the reason why I went ahead and pulled the whole thing out rather than just trying to do it while it's connected is because these screws on the side are extremely tight, and so I don't want to have to jam a screwdriver in there and try to get it like that.
Now, to remove these, what I'm doing is I'm just pressing in on the screwdriver pretty hard to avoid stripping out the screws on the side of the telematics unit. And so I'm putting pressure onto the head of the screw with the screwdriver and trying to force the screw out by basically putting a rotational force on it at the same time as pressing down hard on the screw, and that's just to avoid stripping it out.
Looks like it already slide. Yeah, it's got these little, so you can see in there it's got the little catches that hold it, those little tabs that stick up. There's like one right here. Oh, yeah. And so that's why it was not coming out, it's because it was wedged against the head unit, but got that out. So then that's the plug where we're going to put the bypass in, and that will basically get all the speakers and everything working.
So I want to talk for just a second about what the Starlink Bypass plug is used for. I'll do another video with a little bit more detail on this, but basically the front speaker signals for your car will go through this Starlink module, and that allows the module to play sounds through the car. And so if you're removing the module, then you've broken that signal path, and so this plug completes the signal path and allows the front speaker signals to play as if your car was delivered without the Starlink system installed. Now, why would you want to remove the Starlink module? You can either remove it because you do not want Subaru to track your location and the status of your car, or you can also remove it if you are installing an aftermarket head unit and you don't have space in the dash to keep the module in there. You can wedge it back in the back somewhere if it'll fit, but sometimes there's just not room for it. I'll provide a link in the description to where we sell the Subaru Bypass plug. I also wanted to mention that we have a set of plug-and-play adapters that can be used for installing a Pioneer, Sony, or ATOTO head unit in your Subaru. And so it has the plugs for the car wired in on one side and the connector pre-wired for the ATOTO or Sony or Pioneer head unit on the other. These adapters will retain the backup camera, steering wheel controls, and the audio functions on your car, and will save you a lot of time wiring the dongle that comes with the head unit to the wiring adapter for the car. And so I'll link in the description to these adapters. We have them available for most models of Subaru, can usually retain most of the functions. We also have adapters for retaining the Sirius XM antenna and the AM/FM antenna. Thanks for checking out our video today. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to email us at inquiry@autoharnesshouse.com. You can also check out the links in the description or go to our website at autoharnesshouse.com.